Greetings, welcome to Nerd Chapel. Today, with 42 Discovering Faith Through Fandom, we're going to talk about Clark Kent. Last week we talked about Superman. This week we're talking about Clark Kent. Both show us different sides of Jesus. Day 7, The Mild-Mannered Reporter by Nathan Marchand, who is a Superman fanatic. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature, and in favor with God and men. Luke 2:52. Superman fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent, says the announcer at the end of the theme for Fleischer Studios' Superman cartoons. Yet nobody ever suspects Clark Kent is Superman. It's amazing what a simple pair of glasses can hide for over 75 years. No surprise, they're nothing alike. Superman is a tall, strong, confident superhero. Clark Kent isn't super at all. He's just a Kansas farm boy who moved to the big city and became a reporter. Some stories even present Clark as a bumbling buffoon a la Christopher Reeve. But in most versions of the Superman story, Superman is just the public persona. Clark Kent is who he really is. In many retellings, Clark never puts on the costume until he's close to 30 years old. He was Clark Kent growing up, not Superman. People in the DC universe admire him, perhaps even idolize him, but it's doubtful they relate to him. All those powers, all those adventures, he is far above them. He may as well be a god. But everyone can identify with Clark Kent. He works a 9-to-5 job. He has to deal with an annoying boss. He's in love with a woman he can't summon the courage to talk to. Who hasn't dealt with stuff like this? I would argue that without Clark Kent, Superman wouldn't be super. The Man of Steel is who he is because of his upbringing. If he had not been raised by the down-to-earth and moralistic Jonathan and Martha Kent, he may have grown up into the world's greatest enemy and not its hero. Play the video game Injustice: Gods Among Us to see what I mean. In fact, it isn't the powers that make Superman a hero. In an issue of the comic series 52, Clark Kent, who had recently lost his powers, jumps out a window to attract the attention of a new superhero so he can score an interview. That takes courage. While many in the secular world deny Jesus' divinity, many Christians are guilty of the opposite. They emphasize Jesus' divinity to the point of dehumanizing him. They fail to see that by doing so, they have an incomplete picture of who he is. Jesus became human so that we could be reconciled to God. Before Christ came, God had a personal, yet intangible relationship with his people. He was a voice from the heavens, a pillar of fire, a burning bush. Moses asked to see God once, but he was shown only the Lord's back. Then Jesus came. People walked with him, talked with him, ate with him. The God of the universe became one of us. He experienced the same struggles we face daily, as Hebrews 4:15 says, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one that has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet was without sin." Clark Kent and Superman are integral parts of the same character. Jesus Christ is fully divine and fully human. If he wasn't, he would cease to be mankind's savior. Quest of the day. What struggles are you having that you fear no one will understand? Write them down, then spend time in prayer about them. Do you feel like no one gets you because you're weird or odd? Read Matthew 9, verses 16 to 19, and Luke chapter 7, verses 31 to 35. Jesus was a weirdo too. Spend a little time in prayer talking to him about your weirdness. All right. So check out our Facebook page, check out our Instagram, check out the website, nerdchapel.com. You can find a schedule on nerdchapel.com where you can see what cons I'm going to be at and when the game nights are coming up. So stay in touch and have a wonderful week.